Hey guys, it is August 29th, 2020, and we're going to show you the Blue Beauty. We have one that's ready. They do split. They've all split, and they split more when we had the rain the other day. But I mean, that's not something that we really enjoy on our tomatoes, but it doesn't take away from the flavor. We may not grow this one again just because they are all splitting, but we've got a ripe one here, and we're gonna give you guys a look at it and bring inside and do a little taste test as well. So this is the Blue Beauty, and we have one ready. See you in a minute.
Alright, August 29th, and I'm not sure if the coloration comes in very good on this one, but this is the Blue Beauty tomato. There is lots of cracking on this, but I'm assuming that it is most likely from our environment because these have grown really well down here before. We really like this tomato. It ends up being more of a medium-sized tomato. These ones are actually a little bit bloated, that's hence the cracking that started. I think we will be saving seeds on this one, these two, even though you preferably want to save seeds on the better looking tomatoes. But it comes in a really pretty pink color, almost like a translucent pink, and then it'll also get the shoulder coloring, so it looks almost a bluish, is where it gets its name from. But being that a medium-sized tomato, one of these ones, and that we're really happy about is it stays on the counter as well. So usually when we get these off the vine, or we get these from our local friends at the market that grow them too sometimes, they really just, you can get them on the counter for about a week and they actually stay firm for a lot longer. So
yeah, we've had these tomatoes before. We've not grown them before. This is the first time growing them. And they haven't been as cracked, so I'm guessing it's just something to do with the weather this year. We've been super dry, and then we got a big rainstorm for the first time this summer the other day, and they started splitting, and I think the rain made it worse. So we pulled this one early because of how deep the splitting is. This one's not as deep, but it still goes all the way around the tomato. And so this one might even be a little early too. And I think that the more sun they get, the darker the shoulders and the pinker the bottom. But they're a really good tasting tomato, and we're going to go ahead and cut it open and let you guys see how it looks. We've enjoyed eating these before.
this one right here will probably be thrown into some salsa with some of our peppers, is what we'll be most likely using this one for. This would make a pretty good breakfast tomato as well, because the last times I remember eating this one, it was really kind of a mild one. So if you're not looking for a really powerful snap in a breakfast and stuff, plus with the way they stay off the vine for several days, still staying firm, you can kind of pull them, and then a couple days later, by the time you get to them, if you want to throw them into your breakfast, it's not too acidic. But I could be wrong. We haven't tested this one in a while.
It smells good. I'm gonna take a piece off here. And it looks pretty on the inside. It is very good.
Is it mild like you remember it?
It is mild. Not very acidic. It has mild flavor, but it's a good flavor. You want to try?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really have that acidic flavor, so.
It's definitely a yummy tomato, and we may or may not try growing it again, just based on the splitting. It's got so many splits, but it could just be our weather this year, so we may give it another grow.
We went 3 or 4 months without any rain, and then it had like 4 or 5 hours of rain, and then we've been rainless again pretty much, so.
Yeah, but it's a really tasty tomato, and it's really pretty in color, and it's got a lot of tomatoes on the plant and a lot more are still setting in, so it's productive.
Yeah, the plant was really strong. The production on it's really high. We got a ton more out there. The reason we're kind of trying to show you even tomatoes that might have a little bit of splitting or might not be the best look at it is it's just our personal experience. These videos, we just want to show everybody our personal experience with these things and maybe give somebody an idea, but it shouldn't be a definitive factor. But I would recommend growing these. I would say that, you know, medium-sized tomatoes like this, they're good to dice up in salsa. They're good to somewhat slice. This one is a little bit juicier, but we've seen these and they've sat on the counter. We've bought them from our market before, and they've sat on the counter for a week, 2 weeks, and still come out really, really firm. A mild tomato, I would suggest maybe if you are throwing it into a breakfast or something like that. If first thing in the morning, you might not want too much of a tomato zing with your breakfast foods and stuff like that. That's how we like the more mild tasting tomatoes. The one I would make it the most equivalent to flavor would probably be the Ava Purple Ball, which we are growing out there as well. So I would say this one in flavor would be around comparison to the Ava Purple Ball, and they're similar in color too, especially the lighter underneath sides of them.
Yeah. So this is the Blue Beauty. We're starting to get some tomatoes ripening up out there, and we'll be showing you some more. But for today, the Blue Beauty, it's very tasty, it's very good, and it grows well. Love you guys. Thanks for watching.
When we make our salsa, we tend to not like it so wet, so we also use the times that we make salsa to save seeds, which is really cool. We just kind of scoop these goobs out, is what we call them, into a jar to do the first step of the process, but it kind of gets a lot of that moisture and stuff off of there too, because when we're dicing everything up, the tomatoes, especially if they're on a highly ripened side like this, they can tend to break up a little bit more easy and make the salsa still wet, even having removed some of the moisture and stuff. But we'll go ahead and save seeds on these couples, even if they're not up to par. But it's a really, really good tomato. We love eating tomatoes out of the yard. We've had a few lately, and we're always a month or two behind everybody else, it seems like, growing our tomatoes, mostly because we grow a lot of indeterminate types, which could lead to like heirlooms that are a little bit more fickle grows or a little more crazy growers. And then we also crowd a lot. So this is the Blue Beauty tomato, strong plant, heavy producer. Tomatoes that are about middle ground for, say, salsa or sauce. Not quite a fully saucing tomato, but not quite a slicing tomato either. So kind of a middle ground tomato with a mild flavor and a really unique color, even though our camera isn't going to show it properly. They get purple shoulders and a really pink translucence underneath, and when the combination of the twos together, it kind of gives it a blue color. And an excellent tomato. So UT and Angel one last time as a kind of after thing, and we'll be using this one for some breakfast salsa. Love you guys. Catch you next time.